Hey guys, Hayk here, and welcome to the Power of Mindset podcast. I wanted to record this episode from a demand I've been getting from a Facebook post I made not too long ago last week. It was about a record month we had last month. The month of October was the best month we've ever had. So I've been asked to speak at a lot of study groups, some coaching programs, and lots of my peers been reaching out. So I wanted to make this recording, and I want to share this with a lot of you. So I'll be sending a link out to some of the friends who are watching this recording right now. Um, Kind of give you a breakdown what it is, and I wanted to hit a couple of points. I won't go too much into systems. That's a 10-hour long conversation if we really go into that. Um, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the mindset piece as far as the conversation I had with my team, what we talked about, what is it, what are the behind the scenes as far as the mental bandwidth required to be able to keep up with some of those things, because it is a lot of work. It's quite a lot of work. And the thing is, the record itself for those in the insurance industry, if you know the average numbers, if you're doing anywhere between 80 to 120 applications a month as an agency, you're doing decent. Like, you can a lot of your goals and run a profitable business. Last month, the team brought in 711. So 711. And 711 policies is a very impressive number. It's the most we've ever done. We've done 600 plus before. We were shooting to see what's the most we can do. And I remember just we had almost a week to go. We cracked our best month, which we've had months back. Team was just pushing to see what's the best we can do. So we didn't really have a goal of like, we need to hit this. Our goal was, and it's typically built around a goal we always have, like, what is the most amount we can do? As in, where do we fall short? Because no matter how good of results we've had, anybody that had any good results, regardless of if it's in business or their fitness world or production, doesn't matter. There's always something we miss. So the thing that team does really well is they always go back and focus on what could have I done better. And I think that's a piece to add to this message is, yes, you could do great at things, but even with great results, there are places and points where you can always go back and revisit and think, I could have done that better. And with that mentality, this is how you go to record-breaking months, by always trying to improve what you're doing. So don't change what you're doing, is improve what you're doing. It's like you already have a good sword, keep sharpening it and using it. Right often, you don't need a different one. As far as a breakdown of the 711, what our office did was it was broken down to the lines of businesses that we do as far as serving the public and helping them with. We help them with auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and health insurance. It was broken down to 325 auto policies, 275 fire policies, which consists of homeowners policies, renters insurance policies, umbrella policies, which is huge help for customers to protect their assets, 59 life insurance policies, and 52 health insurance products. The impressive thing, the number is impressive, but what impresses me the most about my team, this was literally, most of these numbers came from 5 people. 5. Not a team of 20 producers, 5. That's a mind-boggling thing when I share with a lot of my peers. Like, well, how does a group of only 5 produce that much? Well, actually, with Melissa, who's our sales support, who had put 26 in there as well. She does a great job of upgrading coverages and adding additional things, but her primary role is not to produce. Our top person did 218. Second place was 138. So Gianna did 218. Barton did 138. Jacob did 127. Tamara did 101. Talma did 100 even. Melissa with 26, and actually newbie just started with us. He just had like a one life insurance conversation and did a good job helping his family. So that's, if you add those numbers, 711. So let me give you a little bit of a background of my conversation. So I made this Facebook post. It kind of got viral. Lots of people are sending me screenshots of it. So this is the official video breaking down the items that I wrote. And I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 points as far as what the conversation about behind the scenes is. And this is something that I see relentlessly. And I have some of the highest producing, functioning people in the planet when it comes to sales. Right here behind, there's a door to my right. They're sitting right there and working. And also an observation from a coach's perspective, right? Because as a mentor of the business, I don't teach them everything they know. Sometimes we share something, they go and they do it their way and come back. I'm like, wow, I just learned something great. So there's a piece of humility for me to grow, because as I grow, they grow. As they grow, I grow. I get it. My name's on a door, but that doesn't give me this almost God paradox as I know everything. I really don't. Often my team makes me feel dumb. It's like, I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing. So, and this is one of the sharing sessions, as we sat down, we talked about, we do a lot of these. Like every Wednesday, we are a team meeting. It's about 2 hours and we go over numbers, goals, weekly, monthly. And we talk a lot mindset. As you guys, for those who know me, I'm a mindset guy. And with my the Power of Mindset book that I discuss mindset a lot in this scripture. So this podcast episode, mindset, of course. So let's talk about the first item that I wrote on this list. You want to do more than most, outwork most. I mean, that's a simple truth, right? I remember years and years back when I just got into the insurance business. A good friend of mine, I was sitting late hours in the office with my friend Awan. He was a consultant for the business. And, we're just talking about how we had a very solid first year. And we were just discussing, like, what did I do better than most to have the better numbers than most? And we did write more auto business the first year than everybody in our Pac Northwest, a few states around Washington State. And I mean, it was very simple because he knew that I was putting in 12, 14, 15-hour days, often sleeping at my desk. And the truth was, nothing beats good old-fashioned hard work. My team gets it. If they have to stay late, they stay late. Most of the time, they skip lunch breaks. They eat at their desk. It doesn't sound healthy, but their paychecks say otherwise. So in an environment where you do want recognition and you do want to do better, you do want to make more money, you have to outwork others. So it's the competition. And a formula I share, and my team understands this formula really well, and this is part of my preaching in our coaching program. 10% effort will give you 40% more results. The issue is, and I preach about this a lot, whatever you're required to do, a lot of people would do less. Most people, as a matter of fact, would do less. I know this because I go through a lot of talent. So if you're required to do, let's say I'm going to put a figure of 40 hours a week. So you're clocking in 40 hours, but realistically, you're working 30 hours a week. The other 10 are wasted between multiple coffee breaks, too many social media breaks, mingling with your buddies, coffee breaks, bathroom, you name it. We all know that person. And every work atmosphere has that. Ours does too. So it's not like we're like constantly grinding 24/7. No, we have breaks. We have a basketball hoop in the office. People take bathroom breaks. They go out for walks. Had a frustrated team member last week. Go for a walk. Went for a walk and came back. Felt much better about himself. So these things happen but also it's how deliberate are you with your time? So if you did have this, again, I'm going to put a figure to it. If you have to work 40 hours a week, but you work 30, you wasted 10. Well, percentage-wise, that's like 30% less. So let's think about that. If you work 20 to 30% less than you're supposed to, okay? So if we know 10% more effort gives you 40% more results, this is your threshold. You did 10% less. That's 40% less. You did 20% less. That's 80% less than whatever the required work was. And then there are people who are doing 20% more. We know those people too. Like, we know who's outworking others. They're 20%, not just necessarily time put into the effort, but the deliberate practice of executing things properly, deliberately being purposeful, and constantly sharpening the sword. As in, I'm just going to keep getting better at having good, meaningful conversations, asking the right questions, do a good job. Like going back to the Walt Disney saying, do something so well that people can't help but to tell others about you. Like, you get very good at helping your clients. In reality, that's what business is about. You solve a problem in a community. Community gives you money. You have your income, and you're able to do more and serve more people, and you just get busier and busier and busier. So the truth is, you get more efficient with being in front of clients. You do a better job, and they give you more. So instead of cold calling and the whole Wolf of Wall Street type, this understanding of what sales is like, it's really not. Sales is about serving people and solving problems. You do a good job, there's no need to cold call. Rarely my top people work lists, because people are just showing up in front of them 24/7. They're overwhelmed with their inbox filled with introductions to friends and family and professionals giving their contact information to other people, because they know what we do it really well. We really focus on a client. We do the right things to make sure that they're taken care of, not just cheap. Cheap now can end up being some of the most expensive decisions you make. So my team gets that really well. So again, not more time, but how efficient. So the one who does 20% less, they're getting 80% less results. And the one who does 20% more is getting 80% more results. So we got 80 above and 80 below. What's 80 plus 80? 160. So often think about, can you be 20% more efficient? Can you be 10% more efficient? Because if you're 10% below and 10% above, we got 40 in a plus and 40 in a negative. That's an 80% difference. So think of efficiencies, and don't lie to yourself. You're supposed to work 8 hours. How many hours did you truly work? Like, when people really give effort, you don't have to put in the crazy hours. I have some crazy producers to my right behind this door who don't really put in more than 40 to 45 hours a week, but they're getting somebody else's 80 hours worth of work done because they are 10% more efficient here, 5% more efficient there. They might skip the lunch break. They might show up early, but they're efficient. They're not lying to themselves when they say, I had a hardworking day. If you didn't, again, if you're social media messaging 24/7, refocusing, it takes a millisecond to lose your focus. But once you keep that focus going, oh, you're a dangerous person. So quit lying to yourself and, thinking you're working, but in reality, you're disconnecting your focus over and over and over. It does, on average, from what I heard in a study, it takes a millisecond to get distracted. It could take up to 10 minutes to get that focus back that you lost because you're not disciplined. You keep pulling your phone out. Keep getting up for walks and having fun conversations with your peers. We're not here to have fun. We're here to take care of people, take care of our families, do a good job, make money. You don't care about money? Okay, go donate it to a church, right? So the reality is you want to do more than most, outwork most, and my team did more than most, and they are outworking most. Point number 2, I want to talk to you about. Keep your feelings out of it. Serve and put clients and your peers' needs ahead of your own feelings. How often do we let feelings get on the way of our judgment? Feelings get on the way of ability to work, as in, I don't know, problem with a spouse or children, or how you politically feel about the political debate that happened on TV. I don't know. There's so many feelings involved with people actually just getting soft. Like your feelings are making you soft. Like it or not, customers don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your feelings. I'm there for you. So my team knows. We'll go for walks. We'll talk if they need money, whatever it is, the support. I got them. But when I notice they're getting too feeling, as in like somebody offended them, I just don't feel like doing that. I don't like that idea. And again, it's feelings, all this negative. And, like 98% of like what we fear never happens. So this fear of this almost resentments within you, and you bring it to the office and you stop doing a good job. You don't ask the necessarily questions to take care of your clients. So you put your feelings before them. You don't do a good job with your peers. You come in bad mood. You don't shake hands. You don't listen. You can sense that person who's in bad mood in the office environment. It's like the cancer that needs to be cut out. You're impacting everybody. So when you start putting your feelings ahead of the environment, the culture, the customer, it impacts everything. So if you can learn to put your feelings in your glove box in your car, lock it up and come to work. Work is about business. Get to business with your customers. Get to business with your peers. Help them out. Offer them support. If you couldn't walk around, you should be walking around and offering to see like, what can you do to help them out? You overhear a conversation, your peers having a difficult talk with the customer, offer to take it off their plate. That's interesting. Why would I do that if I'm busy? Well, it's only a matter of time until you're training to multiply an effort you just put in to help somebody. What happens when you're having a difficult day and 4 of your peers not feel like they owe you because you're a good human being, right? Be careful about your feelings. Because in reality, again, I sound a little cold by saying this, no one cares, work harder. I've been in places in my life where I could have complained, I could have been negative, I could have walked away, I could have let somebody go, I could have not forgiven, I could have been in mood that impacted the positive atmosphere I'm trying to create within the culture of the business. But I chose to be positive, be forgiving, almost forget certain things that I don't want to, because forgiveness is a big piece. And I wrote that in my book, that who you're doing it for. You're actually doing it for yourself, and you're giving away the poison within you, because when you don't forgive, somebody did something that hurt your feelings, and now you're not on your A game. Well, those feelings will impact a lot of good opportunities you have, because when you put that aside and you're in the moment, because one of my favorite quotes, to live in fear is to live in the future, to live in regrets, to live in the past, to live happily, to utilize the moment is to be in the moment. That's why it's called present. It's a gift. All of my best ideas, conversations, opportunities have come when I was in the moment. And your feelings get on the way. Put your feelings aside. So when I did have feelings get on the way of things, some of the best stories I have is when I overcame my feelings and I stayed disciplined. Not motivated, disciplined. Because if I only did the right things when I'm motivated, I would have done maybe the right things, the right workout, the right conversation like once a week for 3 hours. Not the most motivated person. I might seem like it from the outside world, but I am more disciplined than most. I am more grateful than most. I don't let my feelings get on the way of my judgment and my discipline as far as getting the work done more than most. So don't let your feelings get on the way of you doing the right thing for, again, your peers at work and also, of course, your customers. Point number 3, always lead with value, not cheap price. So in our industry, think of it this way, right? When people call it full coverage, right? So I'll give you an insurance example. You buy this full coverage, get the car off the lot, You fully cover the car by carrying the comprehensive and collision limits, but that's what you needed to get the car off the lot. In reality, whoever was the rep on the phone or the call center you called gave you, the state minimum in Washington State's 25, 50, 10,000. What that means, if you hurt or kill somebody, that liability will pay 25,000 for that one person's medical payments, pain and suffering, and all the expenses involved with that. 50,000 if you injure multiple people, and 10,000 for property damage. So that person gets this so-called what they believe to be full coverage. They go out, they really hurt somebody, and their car was $40,000. Well, that $10,000 pays 10,000 of the car. The other 30 you owe out of your own pocket, and that person's now can't go to work. They have pain and suffering, and now they're suing you. And what they can sue you for, typically they can sue you for 10 times your income plus your assets. You don't have, let's say, the $500,000 for their medical bills and the surgery and the fact that they missed work for 6 months. Now they're defaulting on their mortgage payments because of you, but you had full coverage. And I've seen so many people lose so much of that because now they're suing you. Attorney wants to make money too, right? They get settlement. So now they're putting lien against your property. They're taking away your investments, and they're garnishing your wages to pay off the $500,000 damage you caused. The consequence was that I just needed to get the car off the lot. And there was no conversation about, hey, but how much do you make? Why don't we cover your income to make sure if you do cause this, we can take care of you? Like, the full coverage should be more involved around your income than the value of the car. Because what's value of a 40, 50, even $100,000 car compared to what you're making times 10 plus your assets? So a lot of people don't put emphasis on that. So when we talk about value, one of the things is in our specific office is we don't focus on cheap price. Because again, an insurance specific policy can turn into one of the most expensive financial decisions you've ever made. My car payments are a lot. I want to save money on insurance. Be careful. That can truly turn into one of the most expensive decisions you made. You don't guarantee an accident happening. You don't know if it's going to happen. You don't know who you're hitting and how you're hitting him, how much damage you cause. But what you do control is the right advice you take from the professional that truly cares, who put their feelings aside and are in front of you giving you the advice you need to take. Because it is our fiduciary responsibility to give that advice. So value, value, value. Because I've seen people lose their careers over trying to be cheap. A professional lost their job because they got sued for not doing the right things. The customer lost everything because they weren't educated. They were unaware. And most people I had no idea that's how it works. Thank you for educating me. Of course, I want to invest extra $40 a month, making sure that nobody comes after everything that I'm working so hard for, everything why I went to school, why I'm getting a job, why I'm sacrificing all this, right? So that's a big piece we talk about. Point number 4. Be solution-oriented, not problem-focused. Now, anybody in business, anybody that has a job, anybody who has a family, it doesn't matter. When you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with solving problems, you're going to have problems. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always going to be a problem. There's personality types. There's people who fixate on the problem, and the problem almost like overtakes everything, as in it becomes their reality. But in many cases, the problem is an illusion. We just go back in our head and we just explode it to be far greater than it should be. It impacts our mood. It gives us feelings we shouldn't have. We can't perform, gets on the way. So when you start becoming problem focused, you have more problems and they're bigger problems, which create bigger problems. And one of the biggest problems create is they take away the opportunities you would have had if you were not problem focused, because most opportunities are in the moment, during the conversation with your kids, during the conversation with your spouse, the dining table conversation, the one-on-one you're having with your manager, the one-on-one you're having with your employer, right? But when you become solutions-oriented, you train your brain eventually, like, here's a problem, how do I solve it? Because I got to solve it quickly to move on to solve more problems. And then you develop this victim mentality when your problem focus is in another problem. When it rains, it pours. Great, Hayk, what do I do? Quit focusing on a problem. No one cares about your feelings. People do, but I have to be harsh with people once in a while. Be solutions oriented. It's like a muscle. Oh, you tell me I have to build muscle. Okay. They go to the gym once, twice. They skip 1 or 2 unhealthy meals. They eat some protein. They realize there's not much results. They stop. It's easier said than done, you guys. Being solutions oriented is like a workout. It takes time to build that strength, that synapse, that muscle and part of your brain to, as soon as you see a problem, you're jumping into a solution right away. Have you noticed, like, there's people in your life, if you're watching this, that don't have problems? That doesn't exist. That person is just very good at solving the problems. That's why they have the lifestyle you want. because in many ways it seems like they don't. But no, majority of our problems are very similar. Some are just solutions oriented. Unfortunately, most are problem focused. Next point. Point number 6, speed. Speed. This is a piece I talk a lot about. Is in anything you want to be successful, look for patterns, follow patterns, create patterns. And I noticed at one point in our business, we were getting a lot of referrals from professionals. With lawyers were trusting us, real estate agents, loan officers. Our clients were like literally grabbing their relatives and bringing them to our office. Please take care of them. I don't remember what you did for us, but you did something so well that I couldn't help but to tell my family about you. Just do whatever you did for me. And then it goes back to one of my favorite famous quotes by Walt Disney: do something so well that people can't help but to tell others about you. When you bring value, make a big difference in a community, trust me, community will take care of you. First, you work for your reputation, then your reputation works for you, which is the good rumors in the community about you. So be careful the type of reputation you build. So as we were looking for patterns, following patterns, creating patterns, I was curious about what all these professionals and customers found special about our office. Like, why are you sending us all this business? A common pattern emerged as we were asking, and a lot of them were saying, you guys are quick. And I'm like, okay, so it wasn't necessarily the customer service, but it was part of it. It wasn't necessarily the way we do value. It was part of it. A lot of them were just trying to give you a quick answer, which is speed. So we got to be good at doing a good job and fast. In modern day society, with the fast food nation, with you click a button and fruits show up in front of your doorstep, speed matters and it's in demand. And unfortunately, there's not much of it. So we got better than most. Yeah, we wrote 711 applications. Anybody can write 711. We just did it in a month, and most take a year. So get fast. Call people back quicker. Explain things quicker. Don't have too long of meaningful conversations. Just get to the points. Some clients don't even want to talk to you. They just want to be quick. Speed. Less conversations, more business. People are in a hurry. That's what I wrote down in this point. Get straight to solving people's problems. Get busy clients. The busy clients nor us have the time for babysitting. Help solve the problem and move on quickly in serving people. And part of serving people is getting to know them. So I'm not saying don't get to know people you work with. No, do, but sometimes it's too much. In reality, why the phone call came in is they want you to solve a problem. It doesn't matter what business you're running. I'm using an insurance as an example because that's what I do. I breathe and I'm a diehard, State Farm agent. But when it comes to actually what you're doing in any business is you're solving people's problems. So again, get personal, but not too much. Next point, pause and listen. Did you hear what is needed, or what are you focusing on? Because sometimes we focus on our own agenda. Here's what I'm going to do. Listen. Some of the best things come to you when you listen more and talk less. Because when you talk, you repeat what you know. But when you listen, you will either learn something new, or they will tell you what you need to repeat that you know. That's a big one, because I'm a big talker. I have talked my way out of so many good things in life. So I'm 36 years old, still learning how to listen. It's like working out. You always do it. So pause and listen. It's just funny. I was talking about listen, and then as I was writing this post, my friend Garnick was with me. He's like, you should say pause and listen. I'm like, oh, I like that. Why not? So I put that on there. He loves credit, so I'll give him credit for the word pause. Routine, KISS. KISS is an acronym. As in, be okay repeating over and over and over, but keeping it simple. So KISS, KISS stands for keep it simple and short. Another version of that is keep it simple and stupid. And the reason why you have to figure out a repeatable routine, it's a very important piece, whether if it's, again, I'm going to use metaphors, working out, routine date nights with your spouse, routine, read the Bible, we pray with my boys, I give them stability because in a chaotic world, we need stability, routine, brush your teeth, yada, yada, right? So that is a piece in the business as well when you want to keep things simple, because you can replicate simple and you can repeat it over and over and over without your mind finding barriers and shutting it down for you. Because when we start doing difficult things, what does our mind do? Oh, it gives us every possible excuse not to execute. So we need to keep things simple. Be okay to repeat the same thing over and over for years. Quit brushing your teeth. See what happens after with time. Again, immediately you might not see results, but with time you'll see cavity and root canals and you name it. Key is to keep doing what works and keep it simple so it's easily repeatable. No one wants to repeat anything complicated. Keep that point at that. Very true. Don't complicate things. And then a couple more points here. Walt Disney saying, and I reference this a lot. Again, easier said than done. It's like saying the key to being healthy is be healthy, right? So here's the quote I mentioned. I think twice. This third time I'll mention it. As you guys can imagine, I say this quote like a million times a year. Do something so well that people can't help but to tell others about you. This was Walt Disney's model of we don't need to market. We can just do a good job. And truly, they do. If you ask me, how was our experience at Disney World last year? Do I remember everything we did? No, but I can tell you, I felt, man, like somebody asked me, like, what do you think is a fun thing for a family to do? I'm like, take your kids and go. Because last year was the first time we went. I remember how I felt. Don't remember the exact details. I remember most of the rides, but not everything. I do remember the thought as far as how I felt. Always get better and better, as your clients will rarely remember what you do for them. But the feeling of safety you provide or value that you provide when you do things well can stay with clients forever, and they will brag to their friends and family about how cool you are or how awesome you are. So be different, but figure out a way how to give that experience. What is the value of your business? How well do you do it? Can you repeat it over and over and over and over? Because most are like, I'm tired. I'm stuck doing the same thing over. Good, quit. Because the one who's okay with doing a little bit more robotic work, who's really good at what they're doing, it's the same sword they've been using. They know how to sharpen it. They know how to keep taking good care of it. They will take the meat you leave behind. So keep moving on to new projects and new things. The shiny coin. I've been there. Been the shiny coin guy. And I realize some of the best things we have is right under our butt cheeks. We're sitting on them. Right? Usually the gold, like the box you're sitting on, if you just look into the box, that's where the gold is. Stop looking for it somewhere else. And the last point, and this is a point I kind of wrote for myself, but in reality, one of the best quotes about leadership I've heard was, have such good leadership happening in the office where, let's say a consultant or somebody comes in, they can't tell who the leader is. And I think that's true in our business. They can't. I've got people just executing on leadership left and right, sharing, caring, taking ownership, taking things seriously, close to heart, negative feedback, like everything is at its highest level when it comes to people leading by example in the office. Are we perfect office? Absolutely not. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Some more than the others, some less than the others. But leadership is huge. But this last piece I wrote down, be a servant leader, lead by example, and always listen to your team's feedback. Yeah, there's certain things like never discipline in public. There's something you have to discipline. You might want to mention it during a team meeting or something, but take them out for a walk. That person will look up to you so much that eventually they're going to be like, man, this person doesn't want me to look bad in front of others. Because public humiliation, that's what dictators do. Leaders don't do that. So when you start doing that, when you start leading by example, if there's something you need to address and take care of, do it privately, because eventually that person will feel safe sharing the problem with you, and you can actually fix the problem before it turns into a big problem. And now you're firing people and you're shutting businesses down. Operations are being cut down. So have humility to do those things privately and use public settings for praise in public, discipline in private. Never ask your peers, your employees, or anybody else, people you lead, to do what you've never done. And people around you know what you've done, right? What you would do. Leader says, let's go together, not do this for me, right? And I've seen an image of a leader. They were like, he was carrying a log with his team, and he was kind of pushing it from the back. And then they were showing a dictator, a guy ahead of him on a horse using a whip, carry the log. Let's see where that goes with time. So, that being said, those are my thoughts as far as what that record month meant. And I told my team, I'm like, why don't we go for 1,000? Could we have done 1,000? And everybody agreed, because we have this culture of thinking, could we have done it better? Yeah. And I'm like, are we hungry? Are we like just possessed with obsession of success? No, not really. But we love the stories and how fun it is to break records and make a difference and have these kind of conversations and share with people. Because a lot of them like just in really big need to hear, like, what are these people doing? So this is why I exposed ourselves to our, coaching calls and this YouTube page and social media and that. So hopefully this was useful. We'll have a lot more content coming your guys' way, but expect me to send this to a few of my friends who've been asking me to make this episode a possibility. So as soon as my intern Gaia gets this edited, I'll send it your way. Cheers to your guys' success. And hope you guys take those little things that I shared and implement them. And I promise you, I wouldn't have never told told you anything that we haven't field tested it, and I haven't lost sleep over, and we haven't done on possibly the highest level, because the people I have to my right now, they're doing it as we speak. And I get to take a lot of credit for the work that I don't deserve. I'll take some, but they're doing the work and I'm learning from them. Cheers, and to your success.